Hey, yeah, okay, smoking on that. So, young man been in this bag, I'm fly like jet fuel. I know you wanted to, but nigga, we did it. I had to go get it. I couldn't just sit on it. Shorty depending on me. I'ma bring out the beast. Opposition is your treat. Some say they feeling defeat. I say they weak in the knees. Hey, I got a feeling somebody gon' trip today. It's either me or them. Can't be no other way. I put a demon right here on my dinner. The mirror, I'm facing a heavyweight. Shedding that off though, filling the plot holes. This is my story. I'll pass on it. I still get the bag, but I know it's important. I'm scoring like Jordan. I smoke me a quarter, then cut up a half. Serving the order of soul for your wax. They need it real bad, like kids need class. Ain't get it too fast. It took me some time. Don't pay me no mind if you ain't got your own. Securing my home, paying back on these loans. Came on, I'm too out of space. I roll up and face it, going through phases. Yeah, I'm amazing, bitch. So many ways I can switch it up. Yeah, they won't be, cause they know they ain't big enough. Hold up, I got that whopper, but don't make me take you to the opera. Calling your doctor, you an imposter. 1 minute turn him to ass like roster. 2 minutes I find the key to unlock the secret of life. I can't be enticed by all of these lights. Just give me the mic and I'll rock it all night. I'm in a space that's way out of sight. If they will finish that fight, put that on life, don't put me on ice. I feel like Biggie, I'm ready to fly. Stay better be ready to die. Niggas transform and vision be gorgeous. The bag is enormous. Yeah, it's a hell of a performance. Damn, turn a hate into a tourist. Y'all on that bullshit, way beyond when I'm still on my cool shit. You're a beginner and I got the blueprint. All of these fake messiahs is sin. How in the fuck you used to being useless? Nigga, that's excuses. I've been gaining more momentum, cutting up like denim. Keep it confidential, body instrumentals. Moving my mental, instant food for yourself, man. My shit is supplemental. Opportunities, I ain't missing the shit. When you God gifted, all in the quick. Had a different vision, I ain't stick to the script. Screaming, fuck the system, treat it just like my bitch. Get in, get in, get in, get out. Niggas want act out, I pull that whip out. I got a new way of making this money my confirmation. You niggas still had the same conversations. Talking about this and that and him and her and white and black and dog and cat. The fuck is you at? Still talking about Jesus. The fuck is you at? The fuck is you at? Man, I know it's spiritual warfare. The fuck is you at? The fuck is you at? Man, I know y'all still ain't talking about no 9 to 5. Fuck is you at? College, you get your masters. Fuck is you at? The fuck is you at? Okay, on that tone. Young man been in this bag, I'm fly like jet fuel. I know you wanted to, nigga, we did it. I had to go get it. I couldn't just sit on it. Shorty depending on me. I'ma bring out the beast. Opposition is really a treat. Some say they feeling defeat. I say they weak in the knees.
What up, what up, what up? It's your boy Dave B. You watching Dave B on TV, where we go beyond that everyday bullshit people be talking about on a day-to-day basis. And right now, you know what I'm saying, we break it down Sagittarius season. So shout out to all the Sagittariuses, you know what I'm saying. Yeah, you know what I'm saying, celebrate, you know, Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, Ascendant. We basically going talking about what I put in the title. What's up, Ton of Vision? Yes, sir. Yeah. Shout out to the fellow Sag, Jupiterian. You know what I'm saying? Jupiterians in the building and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So, for the most part, you know, the title is smack right back into your spiritual path, basically. That's basically what you want right now. When it comes to just the sun being a Sagittarius. Off the bat, when we dealing with Sagittarius energy, it's a fire sign, so it's like a, you know what I'm saying, it's a little different than the Scorpio side, but we still coming off the cusp. We only 1 degrees in. So coming off the cusp of Scorpio is still a little bit of that lingering depth, you know what I'm saying? We still feeling a lot, you know what I'm saying? There might be a lot going on emotionally, and then that moon in Leo that we just had previously, because the moon just went into Virgo a couple hours ago. The moon in Leo was kind of bringing a lot of things to the surface, so it made everything kind of exaggerated. So what you might have been super deep on then got exaggerated and blown up, maybe out of proportion and things like that. So you got to be mindful as far as how you're coming at things. You know what I'm saying? You might not be coming from the right angle, depending on how, you know, where your emotions are. You know, and everybody is kind of dealing with that, whether they're being seen versus not being seen. So you could feel seen in certain areas that you might not want to feel seen, vice versa. You could not feel seen in areas you want to be seen. And so that could cause a lot of internal turmoil and frustration with others around you. And that could make you want to express some things and, you know what I'm saying, so on and so forth. You just got to be mindful of how you go about that. But see, the sun then switched into Sag, so you might just let it fly, right? And it might actually be the right thing to do. You know, now we're in a fire type vibe. It's about kind of showing things for what they are. So, you know, even in your own, you know, like being shown clearly what's your spiritual path and what might not be, you know. And I say clearly, but the truth is everything in Sagittarius, and same thing with Pisces, is sometimes it's more allegorical. So it's not always as you know, when we dealing with earth and air energies. Earth and air energies might tell you, you know, fact by fact and give you a nice clean sheet about what's going on, and then it's like comprehend that, and then so on and so forth. But when we're dealing with Sag and Pisces, it's Jupiterian, so you're more so looking at the meaning of things, the reasoning for things, and you might not catch it early on, especially if you do have more so Mercury type like Virgo or Gemini or the any of the other energies. You might miss the point. The point is not maybe what's on the surface, but the meaning. You know what I'm saying? So even your actions and things like that might frustrate others based upon you not understanding like what your action mean. Like for instance, a Virgo or a Gemini might give you advice, right? Or they might tell you something. They might give you some information, but they don't the way they communicate it, what that actually mean on a different end. Now, it's always their fault, and this is why even as a Jupiterian, there's struggles with communication and things like that, because when you're communicating, it's about, you know, clearly stating the point so that information can flow. But sometimes if you know, it's like the other end of that is sometimes the way you say things or how you say things or when you choose to say something, it adds more to the meaning behind it. You know what I'm saying? Like for instance, you could make a slick comment. Someone say, "Damn, I'm tired." What is it? Somebody could say, "Man, I can't wait to go to work," and then you could say something like, you know, your keys. So off the rip, right? That could be just a normal change, but depending on the context and how you say it and the tone you use and things like that, that might carry certain meanings and reasonings that are to come up in their own head that'll make them kind of not want to accept what you might have just threw out for advice or 2 cents. Like as a more so on the Mercury side, you might have just said something, hey, because like literally you be forgetting your keys, and so I'm just telling you. But to a Sag Pisces, and where you know what they're picking up is more so the meaning behind it. So they're picking up on the tone, they're picking up on, you know, it could even things that's not even in the current reality. It could be things from the past ways that the past conversations y'all had and old things that y'all used to talk about. And so now you saying something that might kind of set them off to be like, well, what do they mean by that? And you know, right now you got to just be mindful of like, and honestly, that's one of those things where the person who's picking up meanings and reasons got to check themselves, because on your end, say you're the one who's kind of picking up more meanings and reasons for what people are doing and why they're doing it, sometimes you might have to chill out because your interpretation might not actually be accurate or helpful to y'all relate. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes the way you interpret things because think about it like this, right? If you interpret things in a certain way, that's coming from you. That's things that you might not even be resolving or noticing that's going on subconsciously that ain't got nothing to do with the person that you're actually relating to or associating with. So you got to be mindful of, okay, is my interpretation actually accurate, or am I making something it's not? Am I taking something to the extreme? Pisces would take something more so internal to decipher the meaning and reasoning, so they might catch feelings. Sagittarius, what they do is they decipher things and attach meanings, but they take it to the extreme to the point where they burst it out and they want to be blunt about it and things like that. So, you know, it's just the different ways in which we might be dealing with people, places, and things in our life currently that might start to affect things. You just got to be mindful. One, first is my interpretation of what I'm picking up as what I'm picking up in my experience, is that accurate? And you can tell if it's accurate based upon, you know, kind of sitting with yourself and really doing some more type shadow work. You know, this is the fall season, so everything we do now has to be kind of filtered through considering what the shadow side of things might be before we just attach our expression on the outward. You know what I'm saying? You said, are you in Great Britain? Nah, I'm in the USA. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Mikey. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, that's how it be. You know what I'm saying? It's like you got to be mindful of where you're coming from as the interpreter, because and this is where again a lot of people get wrapped up into having certain complexes, whether you want to say a God complex, something like that, where they think, you know, you can kind of go different ways with it. You could think you smarter than everybody else around you. That's that Sagittarius stuff. So it's the fiery side. You know, it kind of is associated with learning and expansion. So you could think you the biggest, or you could have a big see, like you'll look at ego, Leo as having the ego, right? A big ego. He's to have like a big head. When it comes to Sag, they have kind of like a exaggerated sense of delusions of grandeur. So they have like a big, they think they know it all in that sense. They think they got like a big, I don't know what to call it. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just thinking you are greater than something or going to the extreme of something. Thinking you're more expansive than others around you. So even though you might not be a Sag, feel this vibe like, man, everybody around me is actually stupid, or everybody around me is actually dumb. I kind of know better than everybody, and ain't nothing wrong with that energy if you keep it contained and directed with like intention towards something productive for you that you're using as a tool to kind of get more information and learn more. But if you're taking that and kind of attaching it to yourself as an ego and moving along and interacting with people as if you're greater than them, then you're going to start to notice it now, but eventually you'll start to feel that effect. You know what I'm saying? So you said, so when it comes to, you know, this type of energy and all that, that's just something you got to be mindful of. You know what I'm saying? You never really know. You have to know, okay, am I interpreting things in the right aspect, or am I more so, am I more so, yeah, am I interpreting things properly, or am I in a space where uh I'm kind of attaching extra things to something that I'm blowing out of proportion. You know what I'm saying? Because you might not actually know, and so you might have to go through the experience first before you can kind of claim to know more. So you know, slow down, but at the same time, and it really is, it is a matter of slowing down because the new moon coming up, you're somewhat preparing for that too. New moon in Sag, which is gonna actually give you that space to be like, oh wait, hold on, let me start my journey now. Let me start my journey. Let me get out into the world. Let me see. You know, you start somewhere first, and then from that point, you're gonna be kind of pushed through new experiences that's gonna actually add some credence to what you know, aka that wisdom. Oh, I've been through it, so I actually know how to talk about it and move it and express myself with that knowledge now, with that wisdom. So that's what the new moon cycle is going to be coming up, you know. But right now, we still kind of shedding what we already developed from Scorpio. So now is not the time to necessarily do crazy and act like you know it all. Now is the time to more so and like sit back and observe your experience first and start to get a feel and sense of be going on that you're not catching, and don't even try to attack it because also we got energies like Mercury and Sag. So the cool thing is Mercury and Sag, even though Mercury here necessarily, it rather be in Gemini or it rather be in Virgo, the way we're even thinking about things at the moment is kind of in a wonky way. You know, we're more so picking up on signs and symbols, but when we go to communicate that or we're trying to connect dots, we might be missing the point. You know what I'm saying? We looking at the bigger picture, but we missing key details that's actually gonna kind of make it more clear as to what's being received. And when you know what's being received, then you can interpret. And then if you also did the shadow work to be a better interpreter, this is where it's kind of it's a match made in heaven. But if you're not, you know what I'm saying, right now, all you can really do is kind of do the shadow work to get your interpretation right. And when it comes to Mercury at the moment, Mercury, I think, is finna go retrograde, if I'm not mistaken, later on. Either this month or next month, something like that. And so when that happens, that's when we might start to, things will start to make sense. Things will be slowed down and put in reverse. And then that's when we'll be able to pick up the pieces and actually have our minds with us. Right now, our minds are kind of further than where our bodies are. So you might even be in circumstances where you can't stop thinking about where you want to be, and it might be fucking up with how focused you are in the present. And you just got to be mindful of that too. There's nothing wrong with having visions and goals, but try not, when you got your eyes set out way too far in front of your feet, you trip on yourself. You might build something up to be more dramatic than it is, extreme. You might excite yourself and others around you just for a letdown. It's like that Sagittarius bow in the sky. Of course, that once that bow hits the high point, it's got to come down, and you might be prepared for the come down emotionally. The come down might actually be something that kind of hurts your spirit. And it can't hurt your spirit, but it hurts your feelings in a way difficult to want to get up and do it again, even though you got to do it again regardless. No matter how many times you fall, no matter how many times you get hurt, you got to figure out how to every time pick up the pieces and keep moving. So it's not a matter of being scared to shoot, because that's also what gets people messed up even more than shooting and having to pick up the piece, who choose to not shoot. And this is going to be people who play out kind of the low octave of Sagittarius energy, which is be putting themselves basically in a cage because they're scared. They're scared to shoot. They're scared to take that risk, to take that chance, to be wrong, or to have to learn something. You can't be scared to learn shit. You have to get up and try it out. You know what I'm saying? You got to get up and see if it works. And that requires you to be outside of your comfort. But the thing is, again, you have the power to make something new your comfort zone. Don't sell yourself short. Don't put yourself in a cage right now just because you don't, again, you might not feel right, or you might not see all the pieces around you together. You know what I'm saying? That title on point. Hope you've been well. Appreciate you. Shout out to Read the Free. So yeah, you know what I'm saying. So when it comes to this, and speaking of the title, yeah, the moon in Sagittarius. I mean the moon in Virgo. This makes this Sagittarius energy on the intro very strict and maybe even restrictive. That we might actually be a lot. Again, this might not be the most optimistic vibe, even though you have your mind set on what could go right, or you might be seeing the big. You might be actually very more critical about that bigger picture, like whether or not it even is worth going for, or whether or not the meaning and reasoning you came up with is the right one. So right now you might be conflicted a little bit because it creates. So you might have to learn a little bit about what that actual dream, imagination, or more so expansion, that higher place you want to go, or that long distance travel you want to make, that location that you want to go to. You re-examine it. And I would, when it comes to the moon info, it's all about that balance. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to be too critical. At the same time, the purpose of Virgo is to kind of, take its time and point at this, point at that, and suggest that, hey, we need to work on this. You know what I'm saying? That 2 cents, like, hey, this needs to be not up to standard. This is not up to standard. What we gonna do about this? What we gonna do about that? And again, that might drive you, especially if you don't have Virgo energy, or you have energies that's opposite or squaring Virgo. That might make you highly, because you know that's that tension between Mercury and Jupiter. It's like Jupiter wants to be in that kind of mystical, here, there, where expansive space, which is beautiful for faith and imagination and creativity, but terrible when it comes to, actually progress, reality and things like that. And so, again, you're seeing that Sagittarius big picture, but not you're hit with the reality, which is, hey, well, to get from here to here, you have to go through this, or you're going to need X, Y, and Z amount of resources, or this might have to be calculated. This should be considered. So it's like having a backseat driver and stuff like that. So you might get, again, don't get frustrated with yourself, and try not to point fingers at others who, you might feel like others don't get it. If you explaining something, especially if you're on the Jupiterian, you might feel like others just don't get it. And, the thing is, you on one end, right, you got an interpreter, and you got to be a better, you got to know, you have to learn and go through the frustration of how to articulate that vision properly. You got to figure out how to put the pieces together. And so that's one aspect of things, like just the being real part. You know what I'm saying? Would love to sit here, pat you on the back, and say, well, others should bend to your will, and others should see things how you see them. The truth is, nobody really gonna see it how you see it, especially if you got certain goals, certain expansion, certain stuff like that. Like, people can only understand what they understand about themselves, and everyone is in their own individual world. So you have to be better at building a bridge, aka communicating it and creating something, maybe even a metaphor for it that you can compare and contrast, or show them as a symbol that can connect dots' mind. But even then, it has to click for them too. That goes to show you that, because you can't control nobody else's mind, way better off kind of developing it for yourself, even if others don't stand, not kind of blaming them, or berating them, or being negative towards them because they don't understand. You just gotta accept it as, oh, I need to be better at communicating this. And the more you work at something, the more you develop that awareness of it. And I can't say when that'll happen, when things will click, when what you're saying is gonna make sense. But if off of using astrology as a tool, hey, you know what I'm saying, by all means, if you work it now, by the new moon, you might have a better perspective of it, a better moral compass to help you go through that travel, or a better pathway, navigation system. And then next thing you know, we go through the new moon, we get to the full moon. Full moon gonna be in Gemini. You might actually find the words to say what it is you saw. So now you got the words, and you're like, hey, this is what I was talking about, right? We got Jupiter, Gemini, so that might help others expand it in their mind, and so on and so forth. I just like creative with transits and stuff like that because it's fun to me. But that's literally like, don't, you can't look at it like, oh, it'll never happen. You know what I'm saying? Like if you choose that route, and a lot of people do, you box yourself in again, and it's probably you sell yourself short because you came to that conclusion probably more so because you're scared rather than that actually being the truth. Because the truth is really low key, the truth. But what you tell yourself about reality is what's gonna solidify. So if you tell yourself certain things about reality, expect that to be solidified for you to deal with. And if you don't like what you solidified through talking to yourself or thinking about something a certain way, well, you're gonna have a habit to move out your way because you still going where you're going, right? Or unless you choose the other route, is to not go where you was going and then get lost. You know what I'm saying? You become lost in the world. You become lost in your own mind because you didn't go where you was going. And you always get brought back to that. Anything you try to escape from as an internal issue or trauma, whatever it is, anything from, you always get redirected right back in front of that same shit. It doesn't, because it's weird. It's like spiritually, how, you know how they say light at the end of the tunnel? It kind of is like when you're on your path is your path. You know, you might find different routes, but your path always lead to the same way. I think it's your path is this tunnel. It's like it's always gonna point in that direction. So no matter what route you try to take, it's always gonna lead that way. Now you have the power of choice. You could choose it. You could choose to go this way, that way, any way you want, or you could choose what some people do who aren't ready yet. Choose to go back. Choose to go away. Run away from their purpose. And again, think about it the same way. Your path is a straight line. You can come up with different ways to get to it, but you still go in the same direction. If you turn around, same thing applies. But you always get put, no matter how far backward you try to go in life, you always get turned right back into that vein you trying to run away. And some people go their whole life like this. And to the point where you see them be like, you know, 80 and 60 and shit, like in their 60s, 70s, 80s, and still having certain traits and stuff and behaviors that reflect them developing that piece of awareness because they didn't go through what it is that they were supposed to go through. Again, your path is your path, and you can't escape it. Like, and what I'm not saying, you don't have choice or free will and all that other stuff, because again, this is really not a topic. This is not really about that. Like, this is not that free will topic. I say free will is just simply you as a spirit having the power of choice. So you could decide for yourself how you want to go about something, right? That's your individuality. That's piece of your spirituality, your one of a kind energy. What you see, but with that one of a kind energy, there comes a purpose and a pathway. And again, you might choose different purposes on the surface, but the thing is, they all got a piece of the same vibe or the same essence. So even though like you might want to help people, some people help people through being a podcaster. Some people help people by being a literal doctor. It's like this essence of people is still within. So no matter what route you take, that is your free will. Like this route, I could go this way. So that's why even in the third dimension, like how I be telling people, because shout out to Niles and stuff, because you know, when I do readings, I'm doing readings for somebody who's like in that college age, because like I went to college and shit and stuff, and I did, you know, I did it, and I had my own little ups and downs with it. But my point is, I'm able to kind of guide individuals in a way that's like, and not really guide, because I don't like to say, I don't like that word, to, you know, it's not me guiding, it's I'm open their mind to choices basically, because there's many different ways that, like when I was going through that, when I was in college and school and I was purpose, but then I was trying to figure out how this could make sense with the third dimension shit. It's like the more options you know are available, the more creative you can get and intentional you can get with what path you take. Depending on the path you take, you develop skills in that area. Like the many different things I did on the third dimensional level, right, as jobs and different things like that, I was basically just picking up skills and putting them in my bag. And once I got back and I was presented with another opportunity to do my purpose, which was all the time, boom, I jump into that. And then boom, I was able to take something out the bag because I had it, because I went through something that at the time might have been not seeming like it was directly core purpose. But again, your path is your path. Once you all it takes is really just deciding that you're gonna do something, and whatever you that you want to do is going to lead you down certain doors and stuff like that. But you might get to a point where you decide to take another route or switch it up or go further this way, go further that way. But my point is, it all leads you to the same way. Now, when it comes to the Sagittarius, like I was saying, the moon being in Virgo, you might get a little critical about certain things regarding what you're seeing at the moment. You know, you're seeing and feeling new ways about certain stuff. So you might start to feel like you want to analyze everything. You might overthink a little bit about path, your purpose, what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? What the people, places, and things around, what they mean, and if they mean you harm or if they mean, you know what I'm saying? You getting real critical about everything you kind of picking up on with your spiritual sense. So, you know, that's just you have to learn through that though. You know, and the learning part is to not lose faith, but to also not be lost in just the flow. You know what I'm saying? This is kind of where you have to get a little more strict about your spirituality, your individuality, and what you want out of life and what your meaning and reason is for doing what you're doing. You might have to kind of re-examine that, and you know, once you get clear on it, things should start to, I'm not gonna say ease up, but it becomes at least clear what you have to do rather than what you was just doing because you was walking around with your head cut off. You didn't know what direction to go in and stuff like that. So, you know, this might be an energy that even though we in Sag, it's still like proceed with caution because it's about your spiritual path. So people, right, might interpret this energy and want to go crazy and want to just completely embellish in what the holiday season kind of brings. You know, we hit Thanksgiving, people eat crazy, and then it's that Christmas time. So in this, they just in this fantasy land space, right? Ain't nothing wrong with doing what you want to do on different days and stuff. Like if you celebrate these stuff and you got, you know, especially if you got family, ain't nothing wrong with that. But it's some people use it to a, and right now that's kind of what the world is dealing with. There's a lot of different issues going on. People are questioning certain things and wondering why and trying to figure out what's going to happen, you know, saying Trump stuff and presidency. Then there's like questions of what's going to be what the next couple years is. People are financially going through stuff. It's a lot of things that people are going to want to run away from. And when we have Thanksgiving, like the Super Bowl comes up, and then we got Christmas, all these different things. Again, entertainment. I was talking in that heliocentric live stream. That's the number one thing that they give everyone. They pump everything with entertainment to get people's attention. And so once your attention is so wrapped up in something that's meaningless, again, where your mind goes, the body goes. The bodies become meaningless, become useless to their own missions and goals. That's what happened, to just get too wrapped up into those things. Again, if you dabble in these things, you got family and obligations, I get it. And, you know, ain't nothing wrong with that. But you have to be aware of kind of what's going on, and you know how stuff you're given to these things and how wrapped up are you in that entertainment. You know what I'm saying? Because nowadays the spiritual warfare is on. You know what I'm saying? It's on. And at this point, yeah, everybody want to just chill, have fun, and go times was when niggas had money and shit. But the truth is, that new world stuff. So the best thing you could do is get your feet, you know what I'm saying, figure it out, you know, take your time and put something together that's because if you don't, which a lot of people might miss out on the opportunity right now where things are still kind of light, even though it might still feel heavy, smacked into your spiritual path. You know, it still might feel crazy. Things are still at your tools at your disposal that can put together a better for you tomorrow. And that's what you can't lose sight of. It's like you still got your hands on something right now that you can put together that can make something substantial. So don't give up on that part, you know, and that's what the Sag season gotta remind you. But the moon in Virgo might just start to kind of pick and prod at what's a potential. And you might start to question, like, wait a minute. You know what I'm saying? Wait a minute. Like, is that faith really real? Is that this really real? And it's like, don't question the faith. Just moving You take a step, God take a step. So have the faith that that thing could be possible, but make it undoubtedly possible by the work you put in your life. Um, so another part of why this is hitting our spiritual path heavy is because now this activates a grand fire trine. We've been activated with Mercury, so our mind already been in alignment with the North Node, right? And we know the North Node is going into Pisces very soon. So, you know, the North Node is getting ready to, not the North, is it the North Node? Hold on. Yeah, the North Node is. It's 4 degrees at that cusp. So right now it's kind of like, it's the wrap up. It's wrapping up the last lessons that we was learning about our spiritual path and as an individual. So our spiritual path is finna be in Pisces where it's gonna be way more connection and way more in tune with your subconscious awareness. So there's a reason why as a shift, the world been heavy and using buzzwords like shadow work and stuff like that. It's really a purpose. This whole the last couple years, that's it, you know, you've heard the word shadow and you've heard even a lot of mental health terms be used. The reason for that is because everything that we was going through with the North Node and Aries was really before war. You know what I'm saying? We in the spiritual warfare, which is just the control over your mind. But everything that we've been experiencing while we've had the North Node and Aries was really just kind of learning how to craft our own sword mentally, learning how to craft a sword that we can actually, or not even, you could look at it as a sword weapon, but it's really like a ball of light we was crafting that can give us this knowing and understanding of what we about to have to deal with. Because they going in a bit of going in the dark again, you're going into the dream world. But this little ball of light that we was at craft when the North Node was in Aries is actually everything we need to know about where to go. Because when it goes into it's almost like North Node and Pisces is almost like stumbling in the dark or trying to walk at the ocean floor where you can't really see nothing, but you have to feel it out or use echolocation. When it comes to that, and at this point, we're dealing with that form of that where it's like, okay, it's time to start to use, like when we go into that dark space with the North Node and sees, we're gonna have to feel it out and we're gonna have to see something. We're gonna have to use what we built here to kind of give us that guiding direction so that we don't get lost, you know what I'm saying? Because it might get a little confused. Um, but before we get into that, you know, right now, Mercury again, trining the North Node, we're already thinking about our spiritual path, where we really want to take things. We might have been moving in a certain direction, right? And do it all our own, all on our own. As it's getting closer to Pisces, we are seeing like, well, who's connected with me in that? You know, who's else is with me for real? And the North Node also is hitting a little sextile. The North Node of Aries hitting a sextile with Pluto in Aquarius that just got into Aquarius. So that sextile is also like, who coming with me? Who am I about to build with? This dream and stuff like that. Wait, who am I connected to? It's gonna kind of be that type of vibe where we're gonna have everything with the North Node in Aries. It was you, yourself, and I. It was myself and I. I'm going. This is what I'm doing, and you had to do that to kind of get rid of all the filter, to filter through all the people who wasn't there really with you genuinely. But then it's going to kind of be like, okay, now that I filtered all those people out, I start to reconnect and start to develop the sense of togetherness or connection that whole Pisces kind of we are the ocean type flow. That's gonna kind of be that's gonna mix in. And right now we just getting a sextile of it, being that it's in Aquarius right now. Pluto's in Aquarius and it's Aries, the North Node. It's just a sextile right now, being really clear on, you know, who with you and who not, you know, and it's a process, you know, it's not just gonna be instant, but going through right now, it really is looking like, okay, who with me, who not. And it doesn't mean that people have to wholeheartedly agree and be, you know what I'm saying, like praising what you say and stuff, but this means a common acknowledgement of my spiritual path and your association. They coincide, they're beneficial, they are an opportunity for each other. So, you know, we might not have the same exact path, but what I do and what you do, they're in alignment. They go in the same kind of direction and they can intertwine with each other to create even a better energy in the middle, you know. Also, this is good for noticing things that don't align with you based upon you and your energy, you and your separate energy, and you seeing something that kind of cross you on an angle where, yeah, it's a sextile, but it's not harmonious. It's more so a clash of you just realize how much more you stay on your point. They realize how much they stay on their point. That agree to disagree, where we don't have to clash. We can go our separate ways and just acknowledge that, hey, this is what I'm on, this is what you on. Now, yeah, so that's the North Node in North Node of Aries, um, sextile and Pluto a little bit. Um, but getting back to the trine, so the sun is trining the North Node. This is giving us the actions and helping us see even more clearly. Okay, this is the path I'm really on. This is the path I'm going. Um, that along with Mars and Leo, again, being able to use our passion and willpower, that's kind of go that last distance, go the few miles we need to go. You know saying? Because that's basically what Mars and Leo right now, it's about that expression. And it's about really standing on what it is that you want to get out and how you want to be seen, but not doing things for the sake of being seen, but just standing firm in your energy and expressing and being, being passionate on that end. Things are going to get expanded, you know what I'm saying? Because the Mars energy is going to trine the sun. Things are going to get expanded. You're going to start to feel more so that fight mode, or you might start to feel if you're kind of on a low octave end, and let's say you lack faith, let's say you lack a sense of direction, lack passion, and you lack a little bit of confidence. You might find it very difficult this time, you know what I'm saying, going through this season, through this little patch, and really look at it as a way to kind of build that back up in you, because we all have access to that power. It's just you went through something when you was younger and it was taken away from you, in the sense of it can't be taken away from you, but you went through something that it caused you to not activate it at an early age, so you didn't develop it as much. It's not so much they will take things from you, it's just that you stop activating it, so you didn't grow that muscle. It's like a muscle or something like that, where you have to practice now going to the gym with that emotion or that viewpoint. Same thing, even like, when we talk about things like self confidence and all these different things, even trust, you have to flex that muscle. You have to go to the gym with that emotion or with that concept or with that, and you have to practice it. So if it's trust, you have to practice trusting people. And you also have to trust yourself in certain things, and you can start small, just like a person going to the gym who ain't been there in a minute. Start with the small weights. You ain't gotta, try to stretch yourself out. Biggest thing, get on the biggest machine, pick up the biggest weight, the heaviest weight. Same thing with trust. You gotta go and like trust something that is completely like almost foolish to trust. You ain't gotta do that. But it's like baby steps. Shout out to Misa. You said peace, gratitude, prosperity, and protection. Hey, to you too. All of us, for real, we need that shit. You know what I'm saying? But that's really how it be. So you don't want to, you want to put these things in check. But that you can develop that muscle over time through practicing it. You can practice with yourself first, but it's even more potent when you start to do it externally with people, places, and things outside. So whether it be trust or even confidence, speaking for yourself, speaking of yourself, you have to put it in practice though. Now, so that energy again is going to be like a gift that we get with the sun, Mars, Mercury. But Mercury kind of struggles a little bit. Like I said, too much. We might be thinking about. Our minds might just be so far ahead of where we at in the present. It might not mix well with all these energies because it's going to be exaggerated, and we might get so passionate that we frustrated because of how far our vision is going, and in the present we ain't got the means to really make it look like that. This is the kind of relationship between Leo and Sag. Leo is the stage, but Sag is trying to show Leo something that the Leo can't characterize, can't become in that moment. And that'll frustrate a Leo. You know what I'm saying? Like, that'll drive a Leo crazy because Leos, they share that energy with Virgo as a protection. You know what I'm saying? If you never noticed, like, Leo sitting in between Virgo and, what's the other one? Virgo and Cancer. They're perfectionists and they're moody. You know what I'm saying? That comes together and becomes this Leo energy. They're proud because of how perfect they feel like their work is. And if they work or their character to look that perfect, or they can't get a person, place, or thing to acknowledge them as that image that they want to be seen, then you get the moods, the nasty moods, and it's like again Niagara Falls. All the, you know what I'm saying? It's just like letting it all out, gonna roar, gonna do all the craziness, go to the extreme. And that's a bit of what Leo's been going through. But right now with Mars, again, like how people are saying, like, oh, crash out. And, again, people argue or debate how it's being used, but crashing out is just kind of being so overwhelmed with emotions and feelings that you do something completely out of character. You done crashed the boat, you done exploded something, you done to the full extreme when it wasn't that to everybody else. It was just that to you. So you done crashed out about something. And again, you don't want to crash out because that crash out might not be justified, and it's a direct sextile with Pluto. No, it's an opposition with Pluto, which is even worse because with the opposition with Pluto, you're gonna be put in a space based upon people recognizing that crowd and not forgetting. You're gonna be put in a space where socially or within like some, like Pluto as an energy in Aquarius, it's like it's transforming how everybody thinks about associations, even relationships to a degree, um, and how they interact as an individual amongst other individuals. So if you as are showing certain expressions in your character, right, due to a mismanaged Mars at the moment, you in direct opposition with where people's minds is gonna remember that. They're gonna remember like, wait a minute, I remember your character though. So the time comes to reassociate or connect or try to relate. What Aquariuses do, right? They put people in boxes. You know what I'm saying? It's like to associate is to know how to organize relationship. Like you think about it, it's fixed air. So like it's different than how a Gemini might be. A Gemini might mix friends. Like, oh, I'll bring this friend with this friend, and I don't care what friend I'm with. I might even talk to one friend and forget they're the friend and not the other I used to talk to. So they just clash friends. They just don't. It's air that's everywhere. Libra is more like, oh, I remember you. Like one on one. I remember you. You. So they do a small form of organizing. They kind of faithful to the groups that they know. It's like they develop that one-on-one connection to the point where it's like, I won't forget you because I'm relating to you or I have a relationship with you. It's like rapport energy. So instead of just friends together, the Libra is like the matchmaker. Like, oh, I know this one person and know this one person, and I bet they would balance each other out, or I bet they would go together good. So that makes Libra the matchmaker. Aquarius, though, they are the mass public. They're the associates. They're the at work. Think of an executive manage who has to manage a group of managers who have to manage also a group of employees. It's like they understand more so their minds have to work in a sense of fixed habit to organize and box people in and put them in a category quick. So it's like when you asking them about, hey, do you know so and so? They have to click a folder and that folder and then scan. Oh, yeah, yep, I do actually remember that person. I think they work for this, and I think they do this. They're unique, and if they're not unique, hey, I might miss your file. I don't know. I don't think I ever met that person. So that's like how Aquarius is more like a filing system because it's more so fixed Earth versus Libra being a matchmaker and Gemini being just the overall splash and stuff like that. Damn, that's true. He said, I don't remember names or positions, forget vibes and faces. Right, exactly. Gemini just see the cut. Like, if you were to think of like a little paint thing, they just a bunch of colors. It was like, oh yeah, like they would forget they talking to one friend and be like, wait, hold on. Like, it'd be like, you'd be chilling with a Gemini and they'd be like, yo, remember when we did this? And you'd be like, we ain't never did that. They be like, oh, no, for real. You remember you was there and so was there. And you're like, nah, I don't remember that. I wasn't there. And he was like, yeah. And then they sit back and be like, dang, you know what? You wasn't there. That I was thinking of this person. And it's like, dang, bro. He said, I remember the zodiac sign before the name. Yo, right? You said it. Right, the zodiac sign, right? Exactly, because one thing a Gemini will remember is a good time and what they're interested in. That's what Geminis always remember. They keep on them their interests. Everything else, they be like, if it don't interest them or it wasn't it didn't spark their curiosity. Like being that into astrology, you're curious about that, so you're gonna keep a curiosity. That's actually a key for how a Gemini can remember things better. Is like associated with something you're curious about, and it should kind of spark that memory. Be like, oh, I was curious enough Keep that in mind. But if it don't spark your interest as a Gemini, it's here, there, everywhere, you know. But yeah, but with Pluto, that's what the age of kind of gonna hit us with. It's like that Pluto energy of having to organize things. Like you're gonna start to like the world is gonna be a lot more. And not to again, this ain't no fear mongering channel, but it's like the world gonna be what's the right word? Judgmental about certain things like that. Like you want to be very you want to be very mindful of being yourself right now. Like right, that's why like that's kind of a heavy be yourself, and it's even squaring Uranus because the thing is right now how we even kind of see the world. It's like the people not even gonna know why they doing it, but people gonna start to become way more judgmental and just want to box people in to the point where even the government is gonna start to treat people like boxing people in, boxing them in by location, by just like how they do your algorithm, where they say X amount of people is actually part of this algorithm group. So you know all that shit on like Facebook and Twitter, you can follow a group and stuff like that. Like, they categorizing folks. You know, they figuring out how to track people, and they already track people in real life, but they're figuring out how to transport that to and kind of have it tied together, even down to like a lot of the new security systems we're gonna see the next like couple years where they can scan your face, know your occupation, how much you make, what you owe in debt, and they can kind of make a judgment of your character based on a little computer scan of your face and features. And so even down to like doing AI things like how all these different apps are saying, hey, we could straight up steal your likeness and turn it into an AI bot or inform an AI based upon how you can content that you post. That's what's on Twitter now. You know, you post something on Twitter, they like, hey, you get waived the rights to never be able to sue us about taking your character and making it to inform AI and shit like that. And the thing is, the shit so even if you know, again, don't panic. You know what I'm saying? Because you might panic, but I want to delete all social media. This is the type of shit niggas was talking about back in 2014, 2012, and shit like that when they was already doing crazy stuff with the terms and conditions. At this point, you could try, but I'm telling you, this is probably a better way to do it. At this point, they already got they got everything, but it's like you're better off figuring out a better way to just work with the fact that they know that already about what you look like, how you talk, and got your shit, your information. You better off figuring out how to with that versus kind of being on the other end of being too scared to put yourself out, try to hide yourself from just the reality of the situation, which is they is on this shit. And even down like, you know, y'all remember that COVID shit and stuff like that. A lot of things are being brought up about how, you know, the people who got that shot, the what they call it, not Neuralink, but it's the Neuralink. It's something with it's like microplastics or something like that, or something in your blood that they done mixed it with a lot of people again for tracking systems and being able to kind of like it's almost like a mutation in a way. That's kind of is in a sense like you know, but I don't want to get too deep into that. It get crazy, you know what I'm saying? It's just it's I don't know. I mean, I do know, but it's like the way we got them. That's why, again, everything I go back to the same shit. I swear. It's like, look, we gonna build. You know what I'm saying? We gonna build. We gonna figure out how to come together. And the best thing we can kind of do is, uh, yeah, these communities and stuff like that. You know, I hate to sound like a broken record, but that's it. Building communities and figuring out how to associate with each other better, getting more serious about what we do on an individual tip, so that we can come together on some superpower shit. You know, and when I say superpower shit, I mean you being in a better version of yourself. You know, and even with that, I don't like to say that because it separates you who you are. But it's like you're doing the internal work, becoming more self-aware, subconsciously, so it leads to better actions and ways of moving and things like that. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Radical Tsunami. He said, Dreamscape. Hey, what's up, dog? Yes, sir. In my dreamscape. You know what I'm saying? Where I be at. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? Right now, that's really what it's about. Getting yourself right. You know what I'm saying? We this is the year 8. And we're going into year 9. So, you know, it's the transformation and you riding those waves too. Like everything you're going through right now on the interpersonal level. These things is they meant to be shared, meant to be released, meant to be cycled through and somewhat be done with, you know what I'm saying? So that you could be new for the number 9 and completely separate yourself from things that are beneath you. And when I say beneath you, I mean third dimensional shit. things that you're over. You're over these feeling that way, or dealing with that problem, or dealing with that addiction, or dealing with that shit. Whatever it is that you separating yourself from because you want to be better, and not want to be better as in a desire, but you're better. You're choosing better. You're to express yourself better, to be a better you. That's just it. Now, yeah. So with the moon in Virgo, right, it's gonna interacting with Pisces. It's gonna be opposite Saturn. So feeling opposite to even reality and what we're building. Again, another energy that makes it difficult to be on dream shit or to be on some kind of vision shit when you're not actually experiencing the thing that you're striving for, or you feel like you're not experiencing it. Again, it increases your stress level, it increases your frustration, and it might put you in a space to make it hard to get up and do what you actually want to do. And I'm gonna tell you right now, you gotta fight through that. You gotta fight through that because again, the dynamic within Saturn and Pisces is, how do I build a life I don't have to escape from versus just choosing escapism. Choosing escapism is so much easier. So much easier, and it don't even feel like a problem a lot of times. But it is a problem later on. It becomes a problem over time when you realize, damn, I spent so much time thinking that I was enjoying myself, but I realized I didn't accumulate. I didn't actually put myself in a better situation. And now I'm dealing with the reality of the fact that I didn't put in no real work. And so now I gotta suffer. It's like that cold thing with Saturn is, you wanna suffer now, you wanna suffer later. If you choose to suffer later, yeah, you might have that fun. You might think it's in, you might even convince yourself that you dodged karma. You was like, man, I didn't have to do that hard work. But then there comes a time in which that shit smacks you right upside the head and say, hey, you remember when you didn't practice this? You remember when you didn't build this? Now here's your burden. And your burden becomes the work you got to do when it seems like everybody around you is able to play and able to have fun and stuff like that. Now you got to do what you did back when you was having fun, but everybody else was with their head down, studying, working on what they was building. You know what I'm saying? That's how it go. That's how life is. You hit a Saturn return, like I'm going through my Saturn return. And literally, it's like that. It's like, damn, hey, you remember all this working? You remember all this shit you was doing that you thought you was having fun. You thought you was having more fun than everybody around you, didn't you? Your 20s, you thought you was having more fun than everybody around you, but you didn't realize one day you was gonna wake up and it was gonna be no more money in the account. It was gonna be this bill. It was gonna be that bill. It was gonna be this hardship, that hardship, this restriction, this boundary, this limit, this person, this authority figure. Something you didn't have as a certification. You didn't rent. You didn't have it. It's just like, and it's like there's nothing you can do about it, but accept the fact that, damn, thing I've done is my fault entirely. I chose this, and this is what I now have to reap from what I sowed. And when you do that, it's much more respectable. You know what I'm saying? This is where you pick up the pieces. This is where, again, Saturn bulldoze. It tears everything apart. But this is where you pick up the pieces. You know what I'm saying? And picking up the pieces is like brick by brick, one by one. You could try to, but I promise you're gonna spill something, or you're gonna put something in the wrong position, and you're gonna have to spend more time getting out of that than just putting the piece where it's supposed to go the first time by being, patient. And not even just patient, but devoted, dedicated, committed to progress, discipline, discernment. And you might not want to do that shit, but you want to suffer now or later. Some real shit. Speaking of that Saturn shit, the Capricorn. So, again, our love matters and things like that, still dealing with the real. And you might just realize you wasn't as prepared with something that as you thought you was. You wasn't as prepared for what you wanted. And you might have to start to be a lot more, you might have to compose yourself when it comes to the pursuit of what you want. You know what I'm saying? If you want something to value, you gotta be willing to put the work in for it. So, this isn't the worst placement, but it's not a fun one necessarily, unless you actually been doing what you're supposed to do and things are moving you to where you're seeing the results of that. So we might have, this is where you can get in your bag real nice with Venus and Capricorn. Because if you running your shit, you the boss of your own shit, hey, you should have a little check on you. You should have something that, I'm using that as a metaphor. You should have something on your person, whether it be your personality, the way you carry yourself, a thought, a feeling, a vibe. You should have something that make you feel more like an authority and capable to handle your responsibilities. And therefore, It's like the universe in terms grants you support or acknowledgement, reputation, respect in that area where, yeah, you still might not gather, but you working at a rate in which people give grace to you, or not even grace, but they grant you their attention or they grant you their support. It's more so a support. Want to help you with the burden, with the responsibilities you got, because you can handle so well on your own. You know what I'm saying? And again, this is not a guarantee you gonna see that, even if you are doing what you're supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, you shouldn't expect it. You know what I'm saying? You don't expect nobody to support you. But I promise, if you put that type of authority and work towards yourself, you might just you be surprised by what is granted to you as support. But you have so grateful and open to what is given to you, not expecting like, I'm expecting somebody hand me $1,000 because I'm doing this, that, and the third. I expect this to work, and I expect this job, and you can't expect it. You got to do it because it's part of your responsibility, and if you do it well, you never know. um yeah. Then we also got so with the moon, also the moon is trining Venus though. So we have a gift right now to acknowledge process is and appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? This is kind of an energy where, with the moon and Venus, this could be you going through the process of having the gift of at least respecting or appreciating the work necessary to get to that goal, that vision, and shit like that you saw that might frustrate you at first. But if you kind of regulate yourself, saying regulate your anxiety and acknowledge and start to appreciate the work necessary to get a result that you actually want, that's kind of the sweet spot with this energy. And it'll give you that expansion, Jupiterian, Sagittarian courage to let me go for it, expand into it, boom. So right now, it's just like, this is why the management of our emotions is so important. And it's not so much managing it because, they're going to flow how they flow, but the at least subconscious awareness going on within us so that we can come to better conclusions, be better interpreters, and make better intentional choices based upon like what we're consciously aware of, bringing things to the surface that need to be on the surface rather than things creep that we didn't deal with internally that's now spilling over at the wrong time and mixing with their water, mixing with that, and causing weird concoctions around and stuff. But on the other end of things, like I said before, so the moon trine Venus, this could be us learning how to appreciate some of the hardship that we might be going through. On the good end, on the bad end, this could start to make you feel like this could make you want to go overboard with physical things that will ease your stress. So this could be super hard on uh, the wrong food, going super hard on the wrong things for your body, going super hard avoiding if you had a workout routine or you had some kind of regiment that you was following, you was doing some kind of work on a schedule, this might be extreme on the opposite end, saying this is too much, fuck this, I need to feel good. Be careful of that, where the anxiety of Virgo is basically begging and demanding that there's something that ease the tension, you know what I'm saying? And then the Venus is going to make you feel responsible for making your body feel good. It's like, because when it comes to Venus and the moon, it's almost like if you think of like a mom and a daughter that get along really well. Every time the mom has an idea, the daughter's like, yes, girl, so let's do it. Yeah, yeah. And it's like one hype off the other. So the Venus, the daughter get idea, the mom is like, oh yeah, let's do that. So the moon and Venus is kind of like a weird combo. When it's in a certain mix, it could be the wrong thing. Be you going hard, super hard on something that makes you feel good, which sometimes is cool, but in this end, it could be tied to stress, it could to reality or something that is a responsibility. So it could be the things that you're supposed to do is stressing you out so much that you go overboard with the thing you're not supposed to do. Things like that. Be mindful of that. You know what I'm saying? The moon is going to be squaring Jupiter. So again, learning how to feel about our experiences and about where we want to go and take things. We might not have enough information on where we go, and that kind of can discourage us at the moment. So try not to be on that end. Just be patient and learn how to find the answers to your questions. And that might be like, what? You know what I'm saying? But like, what you mean by that? But you know, sometimes we ask people without thinking about the question asked first. Like, you ever been in a situation where somebody asked you a question that they could have figured out if they just took a moment to actually ask themselves that question first? And like, you know, sometimes we make jokes and be like, what the fuck? Like, you could Google that or something like that. And, you know, again, you ain't got to be mean about it. But at the same time, this is kind of the same thing. But for you, you know, before you in your think about like how you questions to God or to the universe or to yourself, you might be asking like, is this? Is this really this? Am I really possible to do this? Like, oh, what does this mean? You might be asking yourself questions that you have to learn how to answer yourself. And if you try to go to, let's say, a person in your life for this and ask them the question, they might try to give you some advice, but you know, whatever they tell you is not going to hit. And there's a reason for that. You know what I'm saying? Mercury is opposite Jupiter right now. It's like, it's a lot of things, especially regarding advice. See, kind of like I was saying with the title, being smacked back into your spiritual path. It's like you start to realize, like, at the times where nobody has the answer for real. Like, people can kind of give you some kind of general idea of maybe what they notice and what they see and how they see things. But the truth is, this is one of those where you kind of have to come up with the answer yourself. And the more you try to look around, the more you're gonna kind of, first of all, you're gonna exhaust yourself, and you're going to it's kind of dampen your fire. So you can't dance around too much about things. You gotta kind of start to, in a lot of ways, this is an energy that's trying to encourage you to make a decision or make a choice, and that to be expressed through your actions that you do, because it's almost like uh, when it comes to faith and things like that, right? If you're not being what you want to come true, you're not moving in faith. You know what I'm saying? You actually doing the opposite of what it means to believe in something. You're acting in a way that makes it literally impossible. This is where delusion comes from. Because you say you want something and you have faith in it coming true, but then you don't do that actually can make it true in reality. So it's like you're not, you're delusional. That'll never happen. That'll never come true because you're not even walking in the direction of that thing to see it through. So right now, again, like how they say with Sagittarius, is like practice what you preach, is now more than ever important and prominent. You know what I'm saying? And again, we're gonna have the sun opposite Jupiter. This is even the way we see life and things. It's gonna be on the opposite end of what our experience are showing us. So it's like if we look around in what we're going through, the people, places, and things involved, we look around for them to have answers to questions about our own path. Again, you can get good hints, but if you can't take whatever if you can't be a good interpreter for yourself and decide what you want to do and what direction you want to go in, you're gonna exhaust yourself, find yourself lost. And again, there's that option to find yourself lost based upon you not asking or sitting with yourself the right questions. And then the other end, what I was talking about, where people put themselves in a cage based upon them being scared. So lostness or scared, but they both kind of stem from fear, because asking somebody else for questions about your spiritual path, even that, it comes from a place of fear. You know, and we all do it sometimes. It's like, you know, when you sit down, people you trust, especially, asking them, well, what you think about me doing this, and what you think about me that. And it's like, again, the closest person to you, the best they can give you is a hint. But even that, it's really it comes down. You know what I'm saying? Now, doesn't mean that, again, when you ask that question, ask you that question, doesn't mean you can't do your best to give them advice. But it's something about the way these alignments are right now, where we have so many oppositions to fallen state, that it just literally can't happen right now. The answer has to come from you. And once you have that answer and you formulate it, again, the North Node, as it moves closer into Pisces, that's going to be, you have to stick to that dream. Or, like I was just saying, your spiritual path is made out as a delusion based upon you claiming you're going somewhere, but not doing no actual reality physical work that's going to show you getting there. It's kind of word to the South Node, which is going to be in Virgo. So the South Node of Virgo is going to play out like kind of old routines, old things that worked, don't work anymore for the spiritual path, because this is something that it's got to come from a more a different kind of place, a more sincere place. You know what I'm saying? A place that's more close to what's going on inside and what you believe and stuff. So everybody's faith gonna be tested in that regard. You know what I'm saying? You said Pisces North Node in 9 years. Interesting. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of revelations and stuff like that. Like revelations in the sense of depending on where people's self um was it subconscious awareness is at. You know, because not everybody know how to navigate that Pisces energy. It's not no easy stuff. And right now it even shows people right now with Saturn and Pisces, it kind of shows you like when Saturn gets two, it's going to be a lot of things that people thought about what they wanted. That Pisces North Node in the year 9 is going to show them like you didn't know shit about what you thought you was finna get into, and that's just you know what I'm saying. So everybody got to be mindful right now. That's why it's like the best thing you can is come up with a decision for yourself, and you know have that discernment to not get too lost and too ahead of yourself, but at the same understand that you making a decision it's almost like required that you learn. So as you learn, it's like learn as you go. You know, you have to learn as you go. You're not gonna know it all first. And if you move like you know it all, like I was saying in the very beginning, you're gonna trip over yourself. And it could be light or it could be heavy. So you gotta kind of like, oh, I know what I know, but I'm also open to acknowledge that I don't know because I'm walking. I know as I'm experiencing it. So it's like you know you just gotta kind of again it's kind of like high key North Node Pisces going with the flow, but it's not just blindly. You know, it's not just in a delusional sense of oh whatever happens happens. Like this is my goal and my direction, my purpose, my anchor, and that's coming from the South Node. It's like enough of that Virgo energy. This is my anchor. This is what I want to do. This is what I'm putting on a schedule. This is my job. This is my duty, responsibility, committed, and on a routine with this. But I allow myself to experience whatever that path, job, whatever comes with it. You see what I'm saying? That Virgo, that anchor, gives you that direction to do that consistency to fulfill. And somebody said something interesting about consistency being not doing the same thing over and over again. But I forgot how they put it, but they used the word character and how your character can match. It's almost like you're doing what's expected of that character. You're developing a character that is almost expected to perform a certain way, which is develop the true kind of development of consistency. So if you even about Virgo sitting in between Leo, fixed fire, and Libra, it's kind of like that Leo side of that picture of what you're doing when you're creating a routine is not about doing something in a static, boring way over and over again. It's about it's a character and it's expected to move and behave different in the same vibration or in the same kind of field of energy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But this is how I be thinking about stuff. But I thought that was an interesting perspective when they was talking about consistency. So think about that in terms of kind of where that South Node is going to be at. That South Node is going to kind of lay down that brick and be like, okay, boom, this is where we're going. And but the North Node being there is going to be like, you really going to have to leap. You really going to have to take that step into nothing. Step on the cloud. Learn how to ride a cloud type shit. Yeah. I think that's the main things. Oh yeah, the moon is going to be trining Uranus. So there is a grand Earth trine. The moon, Uranus, Venus, and yeah. So you're trying to Uranus again, being able to feel more connected with your individuality. So a lot of your criticisms probably are going to come from your reality and your individual stance. So that's something to be acknowledged. Things that are you're critical of that you just like, yo, I don't know about this. They could be coming from a valid place in the sense of just your individual stance. So you might have to rebel and oppose against things that clash with your comfortability and stuff. You have to clash with your own comfortability in order to allow you to be in a space to kind of build something new in a new space. You know, so you gotta getting out of your comfort zone type stuff. But you know, there might be things around you, people, places, and things that's like don't really match the game plan. Don't you know what I'm saying? It don't fit the script. Don't fit the description. So you might have to clean that out. You know what I'm saying? At the point you just, hey, this is my individuality, and this kind of conflicts with my, comfort or something like that. And I dealt with Venus. So again, very much so things related to values. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I go. So things related to values and things like that. Boom. Yeah, I think that's about it. So yeah, thank y'all for coming through. And got the Creators on Vacation episode 2 coming at 8:30, you know what I'm saying? So about an hour, little hour and like 15 minutes, you know what I'm saying, it's gonna be live, or we do a live premiere and things like that. So, make sure y'all come through, slide through, hit that like button, hit that subscribe if you haven't, leave a comment, please. And also don't forget to share with somebody that needs some new entertainment in your life, and created a whole reality show, you know what I'm saying? So it's the first, content creators coming together. We talking about the things we talk about, spirituality, all those good things, but also getting our creativity out. Also, speaking of education, spirituality, and things like that, we do have the new Each One Teach One coming soon. So, like I said before, if you want to let me know if you're interested early, so I can directly hit you up when we release we open up the doors basically for people to register. If you're interested in that, let me know at 717conference.info@gmail.com. Much love, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.